when I started, it was more like, it was cheap holiday. It was a little bit of an adventure. It's about 10 years ago. And then, but in all those years, it developed for me as a lifestyle, you can say. I like the freedom. Very often in a society, when I live somewhere or when I live in a house, I have to pay my apartment, I have to pay my bills, I have to work a little bit. We never work a lot, but a little bit. I feel like a little bit like in a cage. And when I'm on the bike, I have everything with me, and my children, and all the stuff I need, and I'm free, and that's what I really like. That's me. Kom här. Kom här. Mamma vill något kutje doen. Kom hier. Zo, nog kutje. Oei.
Wat?
Ja, super.
Is het best
Ja, ja, net zo smak, hè?
Dan gaan we ze ellebogen.
Ja, wenn es fertig ist. Oder jetzt schon?
Nee. I basically did one really big trip of 4 years. And that was starting from Holland, from home, all across Europe and Asia. This is Tibet. And then down to Southeast Asia and Australia. And then I flew to South America, and I spent 2.5 years here. That was the longest part of my trip. Then a little bit North America. That was 4 years. And then with Petra, the yellow I did with Petra, that's all trips in Europe and a little bit in Morocco and Turkey. We have a kind of a mentality, or it's like our way of traveling for Petra and me, to cycle everything. So we don't take buses across a place that maybe people think is boring or always the same, because for us that's the best. Mostly we have the best experiences, the best meetings with people, the best adventures. The real surprises are mostly in those kind of boring areas. Yeah. And I think the same you can say about seasons. Some seasons, for example winter, seems to be not so attractive for cycling, and maybe you can fly all over the world and you only have nice weather. But afterwards, if you think back, very often you have the best stories from a snowstorm, or for example you have a week of rain, but every day somebody asks you to sleep inside, and then maybe it's the best week of your whole trip.
And on to the orange part. Say your car does make it onto the orange part, you land about right here. And right here, you have this guy. And if you lift it all the way up, it's going to stop your car.
We met in Holland. I'm Austrian, Peter is Dutch. I moved to Holland when I was 20, and I studied there, and I joined the cycle club, student cycle club, and I knew Peter. He was also a member at the cycling club, but he was then already on the road to Australia, and I knew him. It's a small club, everybody knows everybody. I knew him because he's the crazy guy who is cycling around the world, and I always thought I would like to have such a husband, like very adventurous. Because I like adventures, but I always like to do together with somebody. I'm not so courageous on my own. So, and I always dreamed of a man who will take me on all the adventures. And then when he came back from New York, I just my relationships I separated, and he also at kind of the same time you separated.
Yeah.
And then we got to a couple and started a quite quick cyclotouring. I think after 8 or 9 months we did our first trip to the UK and Ireland. Yeah.
Well, actually, I think that it started that we said we want to see Japan. And then we were looking for flights, and it cost like, I don't know, €1,000 per person. And then I said it's actually cheaper to cycle there all the way. And then, yeah, why not? It's possible. I've done that before, and I would like to visit all these countries again, take different roads. That's kind of, I think, how that started, the plan.
Yeah, and we had that plan already when we met.
Oh yeah, from the beginning.
From the beginning on, we said we want to cycle to Japan. And since we are together for 6 years, we talk about cycling to Japan, and we never make it because I always get pregnant or I have to deliver a baby.
But it depends on which time of the year we start. But if we start in the summer, we would start in the north. Kind of the same. I go down. I think we don't go down the coast, but stay in the mountains, down to Central America, and then here you have to take a ferry or an airplane. And yeah, in South America we don't really have plans, but I would like to go all around to all the countries. And with children, I would say that takes at least 4 or 5 years in that slower pace that we have.
Nee, is mee, zei ik. Is mee.
Before, I was mostly looking for the most difficult passes and, very remote areas, and carry all the food and water for many days, because that's most of the time those are the most beautiful areas. And now it's kind of more the opposite. We look for the most easy. We still cycle some big mountain passes, but for example, carrying food and water for 10 days is almost impossible for 4 people. That's a lot of weight. We both have a trailer with 1 child, and that's 30 kilos extra. And that's a lot of weight.
We have about between 50 and 60 kilo of weight now at the moment.
Yeah, it's like carrying a washing machine. It's about the weight of a washing machine. But it's quite difficult for me to adjust to this new rhythm and to accept that we can't cycle everywhere. And also the distance per day is about half of what we did before. I was doing most days between 100 and 120 kilometers. And now it's more like 50, 60. So it's really different. And also it's not just the cycling that's different, but also there's a lot more work after and before, in the morning and evening.
And not only that, but for example, if they need to go to the toilet, then you have to stop. And if he needs to go to the toilet 5 times within 4 hours, you have to stop all the time and get him out of the trailer, let him pee, put him in again.
Yeah, and then you're cycling 5 minutes, and then he says, "I'm hungry." So yeah.
Ja, kommst wieder zu Mama. Komm zu Mama. Komm. Komm. You influence your child in the way you live a lot. And I hope with taking them on a trip, on a big trip or on a lot of trips, I don't care. I hope to think, to let them think more freely and be very open-minded and social to everything that is in the world. I have been reading in school a lot about other countries, and I really liked geography and all the things, but I've seen almost nothing. And it's only books, it's only, like letters and words. You read about it and you didn't experience
Pictures
it.
also.
Pictures, and you didn't experience it. And I think it's different if you experience the things. I really think that they dare to make their own choices, that they not get stuck in this system, like all of us, like how we have been raised. And we try to free ourselves. And I hope that they don't have to do this, that they are already free and they make choices themselves.
Of course, we are always told that we are so lucky because we are born in the free world, in the Western world, but I don't completely agree with that. It's quite a limited freedom.
And it's even that bad that we don't feel free with our own families, so with our parents or brothers and sisters. Whenever they visit or we visit them, we feel very limited. We feel that we can't be ourselves. So it's that bad.
Yeah, it seems like that our choices, how we live, that it frightens people. And more, the people that we know better are frightened more. They don't. After I came back from 4 years cycling around the world, I came back home, and my mother told me, "Oh, you haven't really changed." She didn't ask anything. She just stated, "You haven't really changed. You're still the same." And they never talk about this trip anymore.
They never ask.
Never.
Never ask about pictures or what have you experienced. Never. For my parents, I know that they would have want me to have a different life. I'm quite smart. They would have want me to be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. That's what they want. And my father once told me, he said, "We don't ask a lot of our children. All we want is that they have a house, a car, and a good job. And more we don't want." And I thought, that's a lot.
practice. I know the bits how to take my lips. I want to lose them. Take my arms, I never lose them. Yo.
Well, my first big bike experience was in 2006. It was when we decided to hitchhike to India, and after 2 weeks of hitchhiking and then a few months traveling by buses and trains and with all the public transport, we found out that it's really annoying and it's like frustrating and it's difficult and it's exhausting that you have to catch the buses and plan route and pay for it. So we decided to buy bicycles in Thailand, and from Thailand we cycled to Cambodia, back to Thailand, down to Singapore. Then we flew to Australia. We spent a few months in Australia, but not biking, more working. And then on the way back I cycled in Southeast Asia and then finally from Istanbul to Prague. So it was, I don't know, maybe 10,000 kilometers by bike. In 2013 I went to Pakistan with my friend Jan. I know him, I don't know, from the internet. He's quite crazy, but he had an idea that next time he will come to India, he will try to entertain people, because he found out that people are really curious in India and he wanted to bring something funny for them. So the idea with this road cinema came up. The whole project was about entertaining poor people from slum areas and village, small villages. There is no electricity, no internet connection, and they live with really maybe no money. So they cannot afford going to the cinema. So behind this idea was that we will bring cinema to them and it will be for free.
Čáky tu máme, co s nima uděláme?
We started here in Prague with two backpacks and one box with data projector, 2 computers, speaker, all the cables, some electricity cables and so on. So all this technical equipment was from Europe, but we had to buy the tricycle or something. We originally wanted to buy normal Indian rickshaw with 2 wheels back and 1 wheel in front, but we found out that there is no such rickshaw in Pakistan. But after maybe 2 weeks we found this popcorn bicycle or tricycle, and we bought it from this popcorn business owner. And then we bought another bike, we bought some metal box for these computers and so on. Well, and we started cycling. Simple. The whole project is called Grand Trunk Road Nomad Cinema because this big road, it's like very old road from the British Empire, and it was used for like trading. Yeah, so we were cycling for 5 months on the highway with a lot of cars, trucks, animals, people on bicycles, motorbikes, people walking. So we started in Peshawar and we cycled all the way to Kolkata. I think some people said, I cannot do this and I will never make it and I will never get there and it's so difficult, it's so hard and I'm too weak. But it's not true. I think everyone can make it, and it's only about starting, take your bike and try it.
někde v dálce cesty končí, každá prý však cíl svůj skrývá. Někde v dálce každá má svůj cíl, ať je pár mil dlouhá, anebo 1000 mil, veď mě dál, cesto má, veď mě dál, vždyť já, tam, kde končíš, chtěl bych dojít, veď mě dál, cesto má.
I bike because it makes me smile. I really like the freedom that bike gives you. For me, happiness is to have nothing and be happy with this nothing. So I'm not really living like this, but I have still this sentence in my mind that to remove bad things and things you don't need, it makes your life simple. When I was traveling by bike, I usually had only my tent and I never used any hotels and so on. So I was really traveling like on low budget and I was completely happy with this. It was everything I needed. You can still meet people. Yeah, so I think perfection is really achieved when there is nothing more to remove.
Kiss me, baby, my head's a little hazy, but you will be back soon. Be back soon, be back soon, be back soon. Listen to the music moving through the crowd, with a drink for you. Hold me, lover, never want no other, but you will be back soon. Be back soon, be back soon, be back soon. There's no laughing, joking out, night, but no fear. Be back soon, smoking, laughing, joking out, night, don't fear the I have done too much, I've been in such a rush, trying to get to know you. Now the cold is in my bones, I've been out here far too long, but you know we'll be back soon. Be back soon, be back soon, be back soon. Yes, I'll be drinking, smoking, laughing, joking, out, night, don't feel.
the diaries. Books and books. The maps, I started to mark my route in the maps. And for New Zealand, that's a funny thing because I went them twice. Since New Zealand doesn't have too many roads, at least not on the South Island, I know quite a lot of them. Yeah, I mean, in New Zealand it's easy, really, because there are so few roads, but in other countries, China also, it's not so easy. Sometimes there were like bilingual traffic signs, English, Chinese, sometimes even Tibetan when I was in the Tibetan area. So I could, and I would write down when it was saying city center in English and a Chinese word, I would write it down to like draw the signs, so I could compare later again and know, okay, this is city center. Let's go that way. Yeah. I started the journey after my studies, and I had been really keen to leave because I had wanted to finish my studies first and sort of leave everything sorted, not have something to go back to in half a year or 3 months or so. And the idea came with friends, I would say. Close friends of mine, they did that. They did travel by bike, and I didn't have a partner to travel with, and I was a bit not scared, but I thought I could not handle the bike mechanics on the way. And then I met a German girl on a bicycle, and she was the last kick to buy a bicycle myself. Because she was like, oh, if something breaks, there's always someone who can help you, and or you could even hitchhike with your bicycle, and you find a mechanic, that's no problem. And then I bought a bike, and in the end I didn't even have a puncture in, I don't know, 9 months or so cycling, so I didn't need a mechanic. And I could fix a puncture, that's not the point. It's not that I can't do anything. So that was just like a nice start into cycling, and then I enjoyed it so much I just wanted to keep going, and I had no job to come back to or anything else. And maybe I became like a little bit addicted to that life on the road, to being so free and meeting many people, and just kept going. After the first year in New Zealand, I went back home to Dresden, and then I flew to Buenos Aires. I went to Uruguay, Paraguay, and the northeast of Argentina to go to Salta, and from there I flew to New Zealand again. Spent another year mostly on the South Island, and then I thought, okay, I will go home, but I want to try to go overland as much as possible, and just fly short distances. So I flew from Christchurch to Sydney, New Zealand, Australia, went through Australia, then I flew from Darwin to Singapore, and that's it. The rest I did overland. I took the bus sometimes, or the train, like the Trans-Mongolian Railway from Beijing to Moscow. But I didn't have to fly again. And so that took about 2 years maybe to go home. Yeah, postcards. I did send postcards to my grandparents very frequently. They were the ones who had a postcard from at least every country that I went through. And now that they're dead, all the postcards went back to me. It's like a heritage in a way. That was not the plan. Somehow it's nice to have all these postcards, because it's like a diary too, to go through all the different places. And this actually gave me a friend for a sad moment. So I could open it when I was sad or disappointed, and there was a little note from her to say, don't be sad anymore, or just a little less, and yeah, just go on and it will be alright again. So yeah, the biggest treasures. Why do I bike? I love the pace. It's not too slow. You can cover some ground, but still you have enough time to see and not just pass through. I love being exposed to the elements, to the weather, to the temperatures, the wind, the climate, and not just sit in a car or in a bus, but really notice where the wind is coming from that day. It's really about being out and not just in somewhere. I love the idea that you don't need petrol to travel, and do it out of your own strength, just with your legs and your body, and I don't do sports in that way, train for anything, I just ride my bike. Yes. I can't quite remember the system that I had. South America. I do have one very special memory that was in Argentina, somewhere in the mountains, and there was one moment when I thought I was flying. I felt so free and so happy just riding my bike there, and it was like just lifting off the ground a little bit. That was a very special experience, really. So I've never had that ever since. That was just that one moment, really being independent and with a lot of freedom and strength that you have when you're cycling, and I felt really good then. That was cool.
I'm Helen. I'm 60 years old. I've been married to Anna for 26 years. I'm a journalist by profession. And I ride my bike every day to go to work, and it's what I like about living in Oslo. One of the main things is that I can ride my bike to work. It's that kind of a city. I can ride my bike everywhere.
We have traveled, we have taken like weeks on the bike during summer and enjoy that. But in 2002 we had a big trip where we went from here to Sicily. And that kind of changed everything. It was a big adventure and made me love the bike even more.
It was a really big adventure for us. We took, not this dog, but our previous dog. She's dead now, but she was a Dachshund. She came with us on the trip, so it was like the whole family on the bike for 6 months. So it really was our whole life for that period of time. And when we left, at least we kind of joked that maybe we'll never come back. It's like maybe we will just keep doing this forever. And in a way, it felt like we could have done. In the end, we did decide to go back, but
it feels a bit hopeless at the beginning because it's like you've done like 100, 200 kilometers, and it's 3,000-4,000 more to come. We had this sign on the bike and that said Oslo to Sicily.
Oslo Palermo.
Oh, Oslo Palermo. And it's like when you're kind of north of Gothenburg, it feels like Palermo is really, really long way. And it felt a bit silly, but then...
The sign was a good idea, I think.
It was a good idea.
A lot of people talked to us because of that sign. So that really communicated.
Yeah. We had a small Norwegian flag as well on the pole. So it was a nice way of telling who we were, where we came from and where we were heading. So it made it easy to talk to us.
And the dog, the dog is a fantastic communicator. Everybody could talk to us because of the dog. Huh? Everywhere we stopped, people would come up and say, "Oh, I'm traveling with the dog." So the dog got. A lot of people wanted to feed the dog, and in Norway you're never allowed to bring a dog into a restaurant. That's completely unheard of. So we were like, really, what are we going to do? Are we going to leave her outside? But everywhere we went in Germany and Italy, it was fine to bring your dog. So she got really fond of restaurants. When we were out walking her, she would stop in front of restaurants and say, "Let's go in here."
It's many pictures. And so this is Strömstad, and that's the sign then.
We were sitting at breakfast trying to learn 5 new words every morning in Italian. La prossima semaforo a destra. And abbiamo un cane piccolo, because we had to tell if we had to call ahead for a room, we had to tell people that we brought our dog. And that was never any problem in Italy, never. Why I love to bike is that it's the feeling of freedom that it gives you. You feel completely independent. It's like you're in total control. You can go wherever you like. It's very different from a car. Is much more restrictive in many ways. I mean, it goes faster, but it's much more restricted to stay on the roads and obey all these rules. And on a bike, you can basically do what you like, and I feel an immense freedom on a bike. And I feel that every day. I mean, even just biking to work, there's a freedom, and not just on a long trip, but also just everyday biking.
within a couple of years, like 2, maybe 3 years, we will go to Greece, from here to Greece on a bike.
There's a village on the island of Lesbos in Greece where we spend a lot of time and we have a lot of friends. And we go there every year. It would be fun to arrive there on the bike. And it would take us through some areas of Europe that we haven't seen yet. Maybe Serbia and Albania. If we manage to do the whole trip, otherwise we'll just cheat and get on a boat in Venice. We'll see. Oh yeah. And you come, and you have to behave. She learned to sit on the bike when we first got her. We put her on the bike immediately, so she sits on the bike fine. That's no problem. But she's not as well behaved as the other dog we had. Our other dog was more relaxed. This one is a little bit. She wants to guard things. So you have to learn to behave. But you will come on the trip. You will run all the way to Greece.
This one, you can go sit. Mm-hmm. So it's not the lightest bike, but it's kind of just robust and solid. Yeah. And
But because we have the dog, we didn't carry a tent. But we traveled with only like 20 kilos of luggage.
yeah,
That's
22
right.
kilos is what together.
That's all the luggage we had. That was one of the wonderful things about being on a long trip like that. You couldn't buy anything.
Yeah.
Because there was no room to carry anything. So the only thing you could buy was
Food.
was what you were going to eat and drink,
Yeah.
and something to replace stuff that was broken.
Yeah.
And that was wonderful. It was like a completely shopping-free half year. That was terrific. I loved that. You never have to worry about stuff because there's no room for stuff.
You never had to worry about what to wear because it was, you had one shirt.
One pair of shoes.
Yeah.